Normally at the holidays, you would see Janet come in all of her festive clothing. Today, she's wearing black, and for good reason.
Yes. Sad, sad, sad. By the light of the full moon, we get to watch the planet Mercury, planet of communication, slow up, stop, and on Monday it goes retrograde. And I know, it's awful. The only good thing is that not a lot of business gets conducted in December. There's not a lot of new things starting. People tend to put that off till January, so it's not as bad as it could be, although it will put a crimp in the Christmas shopping stuff, which means last-minute shopping sales are likely to occur a couple of days before Christmas. So for everybody, wherever Mercury is retrograding and it's in the sign of Sagittarius, that's where things are bound to be done over again and bound to be repeated, and it rules miscommunication. I don't sign anything, begin anything, believe what I hear. I don't have surgery unless I'm bleeding from an artery, and I don't believe any kind of medical test that I get during that time. I prefer a second and even a third opinion after it goes direct. So Sagittarius is a sign that they're in, that it's in. And Sagittarians have a tough time anyway because they're ruled by Jupiter. The words just kind of fall out of their mouth. And so when you have Mercury retrograde, the words fall out of your mouth, and later on you got to pick them back up and eat them. So you got to be careful about what you say and what you do. And I like to put things in writing and make sure people sign it and read it, because it just, miscommunication is terrible. So with them and with their partners, always a challenge. For Capricorns, their own words will be used against them. They have to be really careful not to criticize something, and that they think that they're talking in confidence with somebody, and odds are it's being recorded. So you just got to be really careful with the things that you commit yourself to, especially as Capricorns, because those words will come back to haunt you. For Aquarians, it's really not so bad. It's in their 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. And that's the kind of thing where you miss a meeting and the group volunteers you to be in charge of doing whatever onerous task nobody else in the group wanted to do. So, and they also have to be careful not to criticize things, because they'll get the job to fix it. And it's always a thankless job. So, yeah. No money and a lot of grief. For Pisces, it's in the 10th house of career and public standing, and they've had a brutal time the last 3 years professionally, and they can see the light at the end of that particular tunnel, and they're starting to have some hope that their career aspirations can go forward, and they will, just not for the next 3 weeks. So you got to be really careful what horse you back, Pisces, because that may change over the next 3 weeks or so. For Aries, it's a good time to travel, just, I guess maybe not on American Airlines, but take your bags with you. It's the type of thing where if you're flexible, you can get a free flight out of the deal, that kind of thing, because it involves long-distance travel, legal matters, educational matters, important matters, and be there in person. If you're going to beg for mercy, I always say do it in person. Yeah. For Tauruses... Oh, please don't beat up my wife, Pat, anymore. I know, she hates me so much. This is actually not a bad placement for her. And the thing she's got to realize is that things are going to seem scarier than they are, because the 8th house is what it is that you fear. Mm-hmm. And so when Mercury's retrograde, it kind of like brings your fears to the surface and goes, oh, what about this? And it goes, I was only kidding. You know, so it's just kind of a challenge. It's sort of, it gives you a little bit of a gut check. Yeah. Gotcha. So it's not necessarily bad unless you freak out. So that's the kind of thing. And again, medical tests, I would do that 2, 3, 4 times before I believed it. For Geminis, our beleaguered president, this Mercury retrograde is in their 7th house of partners, and this is the kind of thing where you think you've got a partner, and then it turns out they're the one wielding the knife. And you also, it can be a reversal thing where you thought you had an enemy, and they turn out to actually be an ally, and the two of you together can form a better union to make something happen. So he has to, all Geminis have to be really careful with who they consider their partners and who they think is on their side, and I would wait 3 weeks before I cast anything in stone or married anybody. For Cancers, it's in their 6th house of work, health, and responsibility. And this is the kind of thing where they get that kind of thankless job. It's that volunteer job. It's the job that they say, well, gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, where they want you to do work now and maybe compensate, you later. So, and only the Cancer can determine whether or not the payout is going to be worth the effort. And they also need to deal with some kind of health matter and get a second opinion. For Leos, doesn't bother them in the least. They have a great time. It means that, I'll get to go to more than one party. It's the type of thing where you celebrate 2, 3, 4 times, which is kind of a cool thing. And it's good for children. It's good for love. It's good for having a good time. It's good for the creative principle. The only thing is you may want to really think it through before you breathe life into something that will take a life on of its own in the creative world. Gotcha. For Virgos, they need to do stuff at home. They need to clean up their home. They need to nail down those foundations. They've been sort of halfway doing it, kind of like the little boy putting his holes, fingers in the dike to stop the onrush instead of fixing the dike. And Virgos really need to just spend the money and fix stuff up at home, and that way it'll be nice and solid and dependable. No halfway measures for them. For Libras, not a bad time. The pace of their living picks up to warp speed. They got lots of places to go, people to see, things to do, and no dawdling, no lingering, because you're going to have to literally hit it and get it. And I would keep track. The worst thing you can do, Libra, is to backtrack during this time. And then for Scorpios, it's about the money. It's about spending more money. It's about thinking you have more money than you do. You really want to make sure that you know exactly what you're signing up for, exactly what you're buying. If you're going to buy a car, don't just say, what are the monthlies? Figure out how much interest you're going to be paying over the 5 or 6 years you're going to do it. So it's just a matter of add all your numbers up twice and get reliable information before making professional financial decisions. So that's tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the zodiac. It's just starting, so give it 3 weeks and hope for the best.
There you go. We'll see you next week with hopefully better news.
Yes, always a pleasure.